Hello, my name is Jason, and first of all, I apologize if you're not going to see anything here. It's just really, time is of the essence, so this is really quick. I was working on a nice little slideshow, but today the federal court upheld the TikTok ban, and so I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for that, and so here we go. So if you like my idea, give me a like, subscribe, hit the little bell so that we can discuss it further away from TikTok and Instagram, those places that suppress us. And so I'm going to give you my idea, and then you put in the comments if you think it's a good idea or not. I've talked to a couple people, a couple bigger creators, and they like the idea, and I've talked to my audience, and they seem to like the idea. But you know, right now a lot of crazy things are happening in the United States and the world, and the 1% pretty much just controls everything about us. And while we don't have the money to help change that, collectively we've come together for certain causes in the world. Like I would say, like the pro-Palestinian movement is very, whether you agree with it or not, it's very collective, and it's brought a lot of people together to make some change. Where we fail in that world is the money and the power part, and so because the way the world is set up, I think if we collectively come together, more organized, like some things have, but we can actually make some changes for the better, not only for the United States, but for the world. Kind of take that capitalism, tweak it to our benefit, and then make some changes so that we all have basic human rights and a livable wage, or at least as good as we can, right? It's not a perfect world, but we could definitely make it better. So I'm gonna give you a quick thing about my idea, and later on I'll do something a little bit more professional, but right now, like I said, time is of the essence. So um as far as TikTok, so today TikTok federal court upheld the ban. Even though our politicians used it and love TikTok, now they're going to ban it. And even if somehow a miracle happens and they don't ban it, it's going to get owned by people that are going to control it and suppress it, however they want, which way they slide, in their political views. And so we need an app that's going to have the freedoms with very little censorship, other than to protect certain groups, but we need something's free. Freedom gives us freedom to basically collaborate and stuff like that. We also need something that generates income, so we can use that income to make some changes for the world, and definitely the United States, because the reality is the United States affects the world mostly negatively, but sometimes positively. And so we'd like to make some changes, a lot of us in the United States. But so my thought is, like, why don't we make a better TikTok? Because the TikTok of the COVID days, that's over. They started suppressing people. No matter your views, there was a lot of suppression, and got political. And why don't we make something different? But why don't we collectively my idea is take 100 people, and they all have 1% of the company, and these are like-minded people that are pro basic human rights and pro livable wage. Like, you may not agree with everything, but they have that basic foundation of, we believe people should not be killed for whatever reason, and they should be able, everybody should have a livable wage. So my thought, and I ran it by some of my followers, and they seem to like it, is like, why don't we have 100 people? And I have some in mind. I've talked to some of them already, and I'm like, why don't we have them collectively get together, come up with an idea, basic idea of how to basically duplicate TikTok, but make it better. There'll be some trial and error, of course, and have the people kind of help us decide what it should look like, during the buildup and also throughout the time. But us 100 people, one, it prevents an Elon Musk kind of situation, or Jeff Bezos kind of situation. Somebody may turn into one of those 100, but as long as we don't have like 51 of them turn into that way, then we can control this and make this about people getting livable wages, and then the profit actually goes to helping the world, and also maybe creating other businesses that are similar to that, that model. So we're kind of like tweaking capitalism to our advantage, and maybe creating PACs too that will be fighting against those groups that are against us, basic human rights things, and not poisoning us, and making our world better. So the thought is, get these 100 like-minded people, we get this started going, and then what some of the creators that I would choose, or we would choose as a whole, would be people who are popular, and also because mainly is where the hardest challenge of with a startup, and I'm part of one, is unrelated to this stuff, but is just raising the funds, because it does take 6 figures to get an app going. And so my thought was, okay, we need to raise money, and that's the biggest challenge. But what if there's 100 of us, and a lot of us have, like I have a couple 100,000 followers total in different areas, but I'm like, I probably can get some of them to support us. And I'm talking about like less than $5 kind of support. And so I was like, what if everybody chipped in, and then we at least got the foundation going? And then as we built this, you are a part of it if you help chip in. You get a little bit of vote, as we the 100 people kind of select, oh, these are the top 4 things we like, let's say, of the look of the app. and then you guys get a bit of say of, like, kind of help us choose along the way. So you're part of this beta program basically. And so it's a little more community involved, as much as we can. We can't make it we can't make it for everybody, of course, but if we can get the majority to agree, then this is what we go with. So we get the initial money, and it's going to always take several rounds of money to make something successful. But if we get the initial round of money, and hopefully it's more than what we ask, but it's not more than a couple bucks out of everybody, the more we get people to do it, then the less money per person. So we get this, we start building this, and then you're part of the beta of the buildup of this. You can see it as it's growing. And so as this app builds, one, we have to pay people, right, to do this. And those 100 people are not getting paid. They'll get a little bit of payment for their work later on in the future, but not Jeff Bezos kind of money. And so, and then the CEO is not going to make millions of dollars. CEO is going to make less than $1 million, because it's about the people, it's about using the profit for good and not for giving somebody a yacht. So as we build this app, one of the things I prefer, but this is up to a vote of the 100 people, is I think at some point you have to generate enough income to create enough to at least have a skeleton crew to be ready on day one it goes live, so that it doesn't crash. So it's a successful company. And I think one is have a membership based thing like Netflix or a Hulu kind of thing, but you're not spending more than $5 a month for this. In the future, you're going to get this app, right? And my plan would be you actually get compensated back once it's profitable, for giving us that little bit of money up front. But everybody's paying a couple bucks a month for this app, which is then generating hundreds of $millions if it's successful. And then also that creates a creator fund quicker, that creates more income where we don't have to necessarily rely on advertising, but we can use that as additional money, but we can be more selective. And so we do that and build this foundation, and then boom, we go live. If we get all of our followers to then follow that, as we're seeing Blue Sky doing that right now, growing rapidly because of Elon Musk and X, we could grow this app pretty fast. And then make it generate income pretty fast, and then use that for better things. Like I said, livable wages, create startups for other businesses that are like-minded, or replace horrible businesses and have it, replace it with people that are like-minded, that are going to make that company better. And I have plenty of ideas of that. I won't get into that in this one, but we have to start with one that's going to be successful, and then we'll kind of it'll set the foundation for the future ones, in my thoughts. And this is more about United States at this moment, but it's also about the world. It's just right now I'm in the United States, but I want those 100 people to represent all walks of life, all races, religions, everything, so that we are diverse like the world is diverse. I am a white male, but there's too many of us who are in control. And so I'm just trying to get this started. I don't see myself as being, the CEO of this or whatever. So I'm 1% of this. That's how I look at it. But, and then these 100 people will hopefully get to be part of another organization too, maybe a couple of them. So maybe they can have a livable wage, because we can't pay 100 people, a couple $100,000 a month or whatever, or a year. So, anyways, so that's just my basic idea, very basic. So, I want to have a Zoom with some of the people I've selected to hopefully you would agree with are good people and have, similar mindset as people who follow me. But if you are thinking this is a good idea, because the reality is we're not going to change the world unless we get together and change the world ourselves. Our governments all are just destroying our world, and we're all suffering for it. So why don't we make an attempt to fix it? We've done a lot together as far as the pro-Palestinian movement across the world has come together. Why can't we do that for kind of tweaking capitalism to benefit the masses? And then we can change it if we need later in the future. But we kind of use the system to beat the system first. But so if you do think it's a good idea, make a quick comment, like, subscribe, whatever, and then I know that it's something worthy of doing. Because the reality is right now we're all going to run to Instagram Reels because that's our alternative. And that thing doesn't even pay us any money unless you get some type of sponsorship deal. And then we just make Mark Zuckerberg more rich, and they just keep making more money left and right, and the rest of us are just screwed. And so I would like to make an app where, like the Creator Fund and TikTok Shop, stuff like that, you all still get money, and maybe even get more money than what they're giving us, because it is hit and miss there. But anyway, so that's my idea. Hopefully you think it's a good idea. If you don't, then we don't run with it. We just continue living our lives the way we've been living our lives, just complaining about things. I'm ready to do some shit about this, and I hope some of you guys are too. So far, from what I've talked to people, they're ready to do this. And if it's only going to cost you a couple bucks as a risk, then why not try it? That's how I'm looking at it. But Also, with the money raised, it'll be very visible what our money's being spent on, so you know your money's going to something that's being created and not just frivolous stuff. So being very transparent is very important to me, and it should be very important to anybody who gives up, and even if it's $5. So anyways, before I ramble on, that's just my thoughts, and let me know, and then I'll see if we need to go faster, but because we got to hurry. But I can't talk a lot about this on TikTok or Instagram because they'll suppress that, or they'll just ban my account. And so that's why I'm over here talking about this. Have a good day.